many women at the coast, no matter how hard they fight, from the life of prostitution there seems little room for escape. Worse is that their desperation and their addiction leads them to places where danger and violence hang constantly. Places like the industrial area in Shimanzi, Mombasa. Our search for such women continued here. We're now advancing into the industrial area, an area called Shimanzi, a place that's notorious for drug usage. Right ahead of us over there you can see about maybe 50 young men who gather here and use drugs. They're very suspicious of us, and as you can see the actions as we come in and we approach this area mean that they're very violent behavior here. The go-down area of Shimanzi is an area where drug peddlers and addicts commune, and from the empty Rohypnol sachets and heroin wrappers strewn everywhere, as well as the many mattresses here, it's easy to see that this haven is hardly, if ever, challenged by the police. It's also a place where some of the most violent acts of abuse against women occur. Yet when we arrive here, we immediately spot a number of women here. We go after them. Now at the end of this corridor, we believe we'll find some women who also come here to use some drugs. We find one woman who, after convincing from both myself and fellow addicts, agrees to talk, first denying why she's here.
Madawa kulevya.
Nataka tuwe honest, uniambie.
Tuambie tu. Unajua uonekani. Angalia.
Eventually though, she lets her guard down. We ask her whether she has ever slept with a man for money to feed her habit. Her answer?
Ushalala na mwanaume ili upate pesa za kutumia unga ama bangi.
Kulala na mwanaume? Labda rafiki yangu.
Her fellow addicts tell us later that she has engaged in prostitution. What's worse is that she, despite not admitting it freely, has had unprotected sex for money or drugs. A question we posed to all we met during the course of our investigation.
Lakini sio kama mtu simjui. Siwezi lala naye hivi without condom.
Labda nipate mamilioni na malaki yenye nitachukua nifanye mambo zangu, niachie mtoto wangu vitu mingi, ni kama nikukufa.
But for many, especially those addicted to hard drugs, this may not be true. Under the Nyali Bridge, we meet a number of drug addicts. They're so hardened that they inject heroin right into their system, and so desperate for help that when we ask to film them as they take drugs, they quickly agree. The story of one of them in particular caught our attention.
Nimejibwenga karibu mwaka sijui mwaka karibu wa 5 nishipo yenyewe lost ya.
Indeed, we watch as for more than 10 minutes he looks for a vein in which to inject heroin. Then, as he and his friends converse about he used to share needles, he responds.
No, no.
Then he tells us about shooting up with female addicts, most of whom are prostitutes.
Yeah, tu akija mwanzo akiona rosto ile haiwezi kufanyika jambo lolote wa mwanzo paka ni mdungu, akili yake haiko pale. Kisha kumdunga yeye huwa siko flat hivyo. Yaani haiwezi hata ukamwambia kitu ni poa tu hivi. Ndio ingia na hapo tu sweat mwenda jificha wapi? Maana tayari umejificha pale penyewe kama hapa na namba atakayowaona. Unakula ngoma yako unamaliza poa.
Unatumia condom?
Condom wapi? Hakuna time kutumia condom nyama kwa nyama.
Despite knowing his HIV status for over a year, this never stopped him.
Tumelala nao na wamepata ugonjwa ukimwi.
Yaani nakwambia zaidi kama si 10 ni 10 na.
The police seem to be no help either. Police night patrols to curb prostitution are either ineffective or short-lived or adding to the danger prostitutes face. In Likoni, we found that the trade of drugs is both open and dangerous, casting a long shadow on any prospect of change in the situation. Here we found the Likoni police station standing right across from Sona Primary School, standing as a testament to the inability or reluctance to fight drug abuse. I'm currently in the schoolyard of Sona Primary School, and as you can see, it's not a very neat yard, and it is a stone's throw away from the Likoni police station. But what was even more curious is that without having to look too hard, I found 2 of these used syringes evidence of drug use and drug abuse in this area. In fact, area residents tell us that drug peddlers ply their trade just behind the walls of Sona Primary School in plain sight of police officers. And in the fight against the movement of large amounts of drugs, officers in the anti-narcotics police unit are highly corruptible.
Sasa fanya namna hii baraza. Hakuna haja ya kuarebiana, sio kweli? Ni kweli kabisa. Sasa fanya namna hii. Wacha mimi nimpatie hizo 30,000 mutuku. Alafu nikupigie simu wewe. Tukutane nikupatie 5 zako za kunywa chai.
If we look beyond their actions, these are our sisters, our mothers, our daughters, and theirs are cries for help, to be free from the hold of drugs. The lure of money from prostitution, the crushing weight of poverty, to be free from the access of death. John-Allan, Namu, KTN for the Inside Story.